Hello everyone, welcome to the CTV News on Calabash TV and on the Wave Radio 94.5. I am Lisa Joseph. St. Lucia's lifeblood sector continues to pump millions of dollars into the economy. That's according to tourism officials as the St. Lucia Tourist Board released the latest performance figures for the tourism sector. Overall visitor arrivals are now up by 5.5% for the first quarter. The statistical data was compiled in collaboration with the St. Lucia Hotel and Tourism Association and other tourism stakeholders. Director of Tourism Louis Lewis informed that the increase was realized despite the closure of a major hotel, that is the Smuggler's Cove.
300 rooms are out of the market for the month of May, but yet still in May in particular we were able to grow by 7.2%. And I think while going into May we were very concerned that we might not have been able to maintain the momentum. I think the posting that we have been able to attain really points to the fact that the strategy that we have employed really and truly works. Notwithstanding that, the US market, which is our largest, on a year-to-date basis is up by 8.9%, nearly 9%. And whenever you have your largest market growing fastest, it really speaks to the strong demand for the destination. When we compare ourselves with some of the competing territories within the region, we are doing fairly well. I think we have surpassed the average growth for the region. There are two countries in particular, Grenada and Barbados, who have had a windfall of additional investments in their territories in terms of the number of rooms, and they are growing as well. But when we compare, with all the other, taking all things into consideration, I think we're doing, quite well. In the Canadian market, we are up by another 9%, and there are some challenges, going forward. But we expect that, the efforts that we have employed in the market, really targeting our promotions, will continue to yield the sort of results that we've been able to maintain.
The Caribbean market continues to be a bed of mixed fortunes. While arrivals from the region was up by 21%, the length of stay of the Caribbean nationals shortened, which speaks to the market being events-driven. It is the French departments, however, that continue to be the main source of arrivals within the Caribbean market. Meantime, St. Lucia's second largest source market, the UK, is struggling as well. Arrivals are down by 7.8%. The Director of Tourism says the depreciation of the pound against the US dollar played a major factor. The cruise sector, though, fared much better.
We've seen a 3% increase, an additional 4,000 people coming in by the cruise, by the route of cruises. That has been quite good. In 2011, we actually saw a dip in arrivals, but we're now back on a growth path. And some of the collaborations that we have had with some of the cruise companies suggest to us that this year, 2015, will be one of our better years. The number of cruise ships that are planned to call into Port Castries have actually climbed, and it has surpassed anything that we have done in previous years. And it really, we expect those numbers to increase. Yachting arrivals, again, still pointing positive. We have done reasonably well and will continue to do well in that area. We've made the entry requirements as best as they can be for the time being, and we continue to promote to yacht passengers to the destination, notwithstanding the fact that 2 years ago we implemented 2 additional transatlantic races that end in St. Lucia in collaboration with World Cruising Club, and our arrivals in that area are continuing to climb.
And as the cruise tourism sector sails high, there is concern that St. Lucia's product runs the risk of failing visitor expectation and experience. The city of Castries and the port came into focus with questions raised about the state of Castries as a capital city. Tourism Minister Lon Theophilus.
You would have heard from SLASPA, amongst others, that we are moving speedily into ensuring that the complex, the demolition, and the getting into the preparation of the Jeremy Street complex we're moving full steam ahead with that. What this does is it enables us to have a facility which is not just a sanitized facility, but a facility which is on par with some of the better ones, not just within and without the region. This is so as to ensure that we change the initial perceptions and the visitor experience from the time they get off the vessels, so that their shopping and other experiences can be a lot more controlled to some extent. There are other critical things that need to be done, and it is, and I mean the Castries City Council have to play a vital role, and our citizens, in terms of ensuring that our city is how do I want to use the right words, that our city reflects a city that we would like to be to be proud of and to exhibit. I mean, Castries has had its challenges, and the city council are now working through the various challenges that they have, so as to ensure that, one, the city is as clean as it ought to be. Secondly, that we can have a transformational plan for the city, because the city, I mean, I think needs to be restored to a certain level of prominence. It has gradually diminished in that regard.
Speaking to what has become a hot debate topic, Director of Tourism Louis Lewis informed that visitor expenditure has increased significantly, qualifying it at some $350 million for the quarter. Last year, spending stood at $312 million for the corresponding period.
We are seeing the on-island expenditure, or at least the value of business to St. Lucia, is also growing at a faster rate than the increase in arrivals. And that speaks to the quality of the product and the wide range of opportunities for people to engage in activity outside of the hotel plant. It also points out to the fact that for us to maintain that momentum, because at the end of the day, that is the whole purpose for which you're into tourism. For us to maintain that momentum, we have to place close emphasis on the quality of the product. And we have to have a close synergy between what we use on the outside to promote the destination, what we encourage and entice people to visit, for them to experience, and to make sure that we can deliver on that experience. So the on-island expenditure is increasing. The arrivals are in a positive, trend, and I think we are on a strong footing going forward.
While the data shows increased expenditure, on the ground, vendors, taxi operators, and other stakeholders claim otherwise. Mr. Lewis says the disparity exists because accommodation takes up about 80% of the spend.
Because your higher end properties are actually increasing, and they have average occupancies in the upper 80s and sometimes 90s%, occupancy level, despite all of that seasonality that you're seeing, it's a higher spending traveler that is coming into the destination. And while we see the arrivals figures going up by about 5.5% overall, the expenditure is about 15% more, because you have the greater increase happen at the higher end. The expenditure data does not take into consideration airfares. It takes into consideration only expenditure as it relates to the on-island. So you'd see the accommodation component, tours and attractions, souvenirs, entertainment and that sort of thing. The disturbing area, I don't want to use disturbing because I don't want to sound alarmist. The unfortunate category within that whole breakdown of expenditure is what's spent on entertainment, is what's spent on souvenirs, because we have limitations in those areas. It also points to the fact that we have tremendous potential for growth in those areas, because we have people who are coming, who are willing to spend, but have not had or do not have sufficient opportunities to engage in that expenditure. So on every metric, the accommodation component is about 80%. So people come, they stay in the rooms, or they pay for the rooms, and they have meals and drinks at the hotels. The one that tells us whether we are actually making gains is the level of expenditure that takes place outside of the hotel plant. The unfortunate thing is that number is, it's on the one hand, it is growing, but on the other hand, it is still less than 10%.
Mr. Lewis pointed out that the challenge now is to create the environment that will entice visitors to spend on the ground.